And my physical description is I have brown skin, I have black hair and dark features. I'm wearing a midnight blue navy dress shirt, and my background is a white background with the title of this evening, which is Latinx Hispanic Dancers United, moving through the intersections, Latinx Disabled Artists in Focus. Okay, so with that, I want to introduce you to tonight's moderator, Mark Travis Rivera. Telling stories is at the core of Mark's purpose in life. He's an award-winning creative, an entrepreneur, a disabled choreographer. At 17, Mark founded Mark Dance Project, becoming the youngest person in the US to lead an integrated dance company. And that was from 2009 to 2019. He is the chief executive director and the founder of the Professional Storytellers. So look that up, please, where he embraces the power of stories to create a more inclusive world based, and they're based in Atlanta, Georgia. Mark, I'll send it over to you.
Gracias, David. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Can we put the interpreter back on spotlight, please? Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Travis Rivera. As David said, I have a white background with the event name. Excuse me, I am getting over a cold. I am a bald-headed Latino with makeup, and I have a black shirt with a gold chain necklace and a black ring. And cute nails, if I may add so, I say so myself. And excuse me, I'm excited to introduce today's panelist. I'm gonna put on my glasses so I can read clearly because I'm not at the age where if I don't have my glasses, I can't read it well. So here we go. We are gonna have a Q&A at the end, towards the end of the event. So if you have any questions or comments, I'm gonna ask you to put it in the chat. And my colleague Andrea will keep track of them and make sure we answer your questions. First off on our panel, we have the fierce, and when I say fierce, she is one of the fiercest people I know. Kayla Maria G, a New York City native. Kayla Maria G is a professional model, dancer, teacher, and influencer whose goal is to break barriers and normalize disabilities. She is currently a signed model under ZBD Talent and dancer with Block. Kayla Maria has been featured in campaigns such as JD Sports, Savage X Fenty, Tommy Hilfiger, Amazon, and more. Kayla is also a professional dancer. She has not only danced in campaigns such as Nike and UGG, but has also choreographed for Disney Plus and has been featured in music videos such as When We Move by Common. She broke barriers by being the first dancer to open up for Pretty Little Things swimwear show hired by Tiana Taylor. Joining Kayla Maria and I on this panel tonight is the incomparable from the most beautiful island in the Caribbean. Jumpy Star was born and raised in Puerto Rico. They moved to Oakland, California to join Access Dance Company in 2018. Jumpy has been commissioned in the Bay Area by different festivals and organizations like Korean Dance Festival in 2019, 2020, and 2022, and by Fresh Meat Productions in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2025. In the last 3 years, Jumpy has developed their art of being a drag queen in a wheelchair. During drag shows, Jumpy has performed at the MoMA SF, the Academy of Science, Oasis SF, and Oak Lash 2023 and 2024. And to round up this immaculate panel is mi hermana, my colleague, my comrade, Vanessa Hernandez Cruz. Is an interdependent Chicana disabled multidisciplinary dance artist and disability justice activist rooted in Los Angeles, California. She recently became a 2025 recipient of the New England Foundation of the Arts, NEFA, National Dance Project Production Grant for a new evening-length work titled Echoing Memories in a Distant Future, set to premiere in 2027. In late 2024, she was an Access Movement Play AMP artist in residence in New York. Earlier that year, She premiered an experimental contemporary dance solo titled Soul Seeker for the Los Angeles Contemporary Expedition show Abundance. In addition, Vanessa produced and premiered an evening length at Highways performance space titled Void Decryption Era, where she successfully live streamed queer, black, indigenous, people of color, disabled artists on stage with her. She earned her BS in dance from Cal State Long Beach, becoming one of a handful of disabled artists to have a dance degree in the United States. And I'm excited to welcome our panelists today. Andrea, will we pin and spotlight our panelists, please? And interpreters, let us know when you need to transition, and we'll pause for those transitions. Hola, hello everyone. How you doing?
Mark, sorry, interpreters are switching now. Thank you.
And can the interpreters just let me know how much time before you switch off again?
We'll be doing 15 minutes, so
Perfect.
15, 30, 45, and at the hour. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi everyone. Y'all can
Hi.
unmute yourselves. We're having a conversation, so feel free to unmute yourselves.
Hola.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. And guess
Hi,
what?
Mark.
We are on time, everyone. We will ask for our audience members to keep themselves on mute, unless they're asking a question during Q&A, to not disrupt the conversation between the panelists and I. First and foremost, I just read all of your fabulous bios and who you are, but I want to know, and I ask this oftentimes in panels, who are you outside of the professional highlights I just read in your bio? And I'm gonna go to Vanessa first, and then Jumpy, and then Kayla.
Okay.
Okay.
Hola. I am a Chicana woman. I currently have my hair pulled back. I have a little bit of purple in my hair. I'm wearing a super cool goth outfit, which is part of my identity. I do have a red background with the title of the event. Yeah, I am a goth. I'm a dreamer. I love stargazing. I'm a sister, daughter, friend, colleague, collaborator, a million things in which I love to weave in community in and whenever I can. My values weave this beautiful, warm array of different human connection. And it is very evident in my work as well. Uh, yeah, I love horror movies. I love reading books. I love going out, watching movies. Yeah, that's a little bit about who I am outside of my professional work. And I'll
Awesome.
pass it over to Kayla.
To me or
Oh,
Jenny's
whatever. It
talk?
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Jumpy or Kayla, it doesn't matter. Jumpy,
Jenny's
go
talk. Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jumpy.
Okay. I also like horror movies, but I need to watch them during the day. I cannot watch during the night.
So real.
Hello, hello, hola, mi gente bella, my beautiful people. My name is Jumpy Star. A wheelchair user and disabled person located in Oakland, but I'm from the most beautiful island on the Caribbean, Puerto Rico. I've been about 8 years living in Oakland, dancing, performing, growing as a drag queen, but also as a person and as a disabled human. I feel I've been able to really connect with my identity here in the Bay Area with the disabled community is like huge, I feel, comparing to other places. So yeah, that's about me. I'm also an uncle, a brother, a sister. Eh, yeah, that's pretty much who I am.
Lovely. Kayla.
Yes. Hi. Sorry, my voice sounds so off. I do live streaming now and I'm getting used to it. So pardon me if my voice sounds a little cracky. Yeah. But as in essence, who am I outside of my bio? It's a really good question. I'm obsessed with dogs. If you guys like dogs, I own dogs. Yeah, so that's me. I love exploring new places and getting myself outside of my comfort zone. I love going to different countries by myself and just kind of immersing myself in the culture and just learning new things along the way. And I love reading books. I'm a big adventure, romantic genre type of girly. If you relate, then you feel me. And then what else? I'm obsessed with milk. A little random fun fact about me. Yeah.
Milk, as in the milk you drink?
Yeah.
Okay, we listen and we don't judge. We listen and we
Yeah.
don't judge. I love that. I love that. And for those of you who may be wondering who I am outside my bio, I am a Theo, a proud uncle to five beautiful nieces and two, yeah, five beautiful nieces and two beautiful nephews. I am based in Atlanta. I am Puerto Rican. I was born with cerebral palsy. I'm a bald baddie, queer as hell,
Mhm.
and a disabled choreographer and storyteller. And I just love these people on this panel today. I think I had a heavy hand on curating who was going to be on the panel. So shout out to David for asking for my input and for trusting us to have this conversation tonight. I am not only colleagues and friends with these people, but I'm a deep admirer of their work. And today's conversation, the questions I asked each of them, is coming from that space of admiration, curiosity, and care. And I want to invite our panelists to not only remember the time slots allotted for each question and the responses, but also make sure that you recognize that this is being recorded and this is being televised live. So be mindful what you share if you're not ready for the world to hear it. Um, and I'm going to kick it off and I'm going to tell the audience. We're going to start off with Kayla, then go to Vanessa, then Jompy for this second question, okay? As you live and create, Kayla, through multiple intersections, how do you position your identity within your professional life? Are you a Latinx artist first? Are you disabled first or limb different first? How do you place your identities in your professional life, Kayla?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I know for a fact for myself, especially in 2020, I don't know if anyone relates to this. There was this whole immersive moment of having to look deep within yourself. And that was the year where I really wanted to lean into the Afro Latina side of my heritage. Because I grew up in the side that wanted me to just be seen as Latina, where in actuality, I'm Afro Latina as well. So being able to embrace that part of my identity, because I was so comfortable already embracing my limb difference and my disability, that it was nice to be able to marry the two together. And that's why I'm so um, confident in making sure that boundary is met with I'm Afro Latina. Within my family or strangers, I think it's really important to just respect how someone wants to identify themselves, no matter what that is. And that's what I make sure that is seen about me, no matter whether it's professional or just my everyday life as well. I'm proud of everything that I am. So
Yeah,
I try to
I love
marry
that.
all of it.
Thank you. So, if I hear you correctly, you're saying you start with Afro Latina and then you go on to say disabled, limb different, all those things along with that.
I think I'd just be switching up. I'd be like, I'm like
Yeah,
Afro Latina and limb different, or I'm like and limb different Afro Latina. They're just like both equal for me. I feel like it's
yeah,
all married.
yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed, agreed. Lovely. Thank you. Vanessa, over to you. Same question.
Amazing. Yeah. I find that my identities tend to be a disruptor. It is something that I decided to put in my bio, disabled Chicana woman, as a form of um, being chaotic energetically. Like, as someone who has a very visible disability, entering um, a dance field that's very dominated by non-disabled folks, like I have found myself that I need to put myself out there in that way so that it eliminates that culture shock when I enter the room. And it gives me the power to be in a position where I can be fully confident in myself. as an artist. And yeah, I'd be switching it up too, like Chicana disabled, disabled Chicana. Um, the interesting thing right now for me is with my Chicana identity, I am slowly diving into my indigeneity and like what that means and like reclaiming that as well. Um, Part of my identity is Oaxacan. And I'm like now immersing myself a little bit more on like what that means, especially as someone who's first generation here. And so I'm excited to continuing to weave and unroot who I am, lineage wise. So yeah, and
Lovely.
that.
Lovely. Thank you. Jumpy Star, same thing for you. Do you start with Puertorriqueño? Do you start con disabled, con queer, con non-binary? What do you start with?
Definitely, like, I feel like, yeah, I feel Caribbean. I'm from the Caribbean, Caribeño, Caribeñex, Caribeña, como lo quieran
Mhm.
llamar. But, but I'm trying to embrace more like my disability since I become a professional dancer in the Bay Area. I feel like now I really use the disabled word first, disabled Latinx, and like even though I also switch it up sometimes,
Mhm.
but I'm really all about disabled excellence, disabled Latinx excellence, and that's what I'm trying to embrace because also like I feel as sometimes in some or a lot in the Caribbean, Latinx, my experience growing up as disabled, you're hiding that a lot. You don't wanna, you don't grow proud of being, a disabled person. And now I feel like I'm really like taking it and using it as my art form completely, like
Yeah.
no more hiding.
Yeah. We out the closet in all the ways.
Yes.
Yes, period. And I always say there's no separating my brownness from my queerness or my crippledness or my gender
Hmm.
nonconformity. I am all those things in totality, and I do not create hierarchy,
Yes.
right? Because I'm all those things in totality. I am not an incomplete sentence. I am not a fragment. Do not fragment me based on my various identities, but see me for the fullness of who I am. Thank y'all so much for sharing that. And yeah, we gotta switch it up, Jumpy. You use a manual wheelchair, you dance, you do drag, you're all the things. And you're right. You touched on something really, really important about growing up in the Latinx community, how disability isn't always seen as a point of pride, but shame or a burden. And so for me, I was always coddled as a young child and then brought up to be like, oh, you can do it just like everyone else. We're gonna teach you like everyone else, but you can't do it things like everyone else, right? It was a weird thing. Um, I have to jump to the next question. Did I get to everyone? Yes? Okay, good. I'm like, ooh, it's been a long day. Kayla, this question is specifically for you. As someone who navigates the commercial dance space and commercial modeling and commercial space in general. Excuse me. You are often part of major campaigns as one of the few or the only disabled artists. How do you navigate commercial spaces that often don't include a lot of disabled artists, let alone an Afro Latina disabled artist? How do you navigate that space?
That's a good question. Honestly, when I first got into it, I want to say I thought it was really unreal because I never saw anything like that, let alone thinking that someone like me was going to be able to be in that space to begin with. Sometimes you think it's going to be someone else, but in actuality, you have the capability yourself. Um, and that was the first thing I had to overcome to just tell myself that I belong in this space too and navigate it with the confidence that I know I have in myself that other people should be able to see in me or just feel what I'm giving. So that alone has helped me navigate a lot of those spaces. And I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt because I just feel like it's just an easier way to just navigate things. Because if people don't really understand or they do something, may because they just like lack the education behind certain things, you just teach, right? And then give them the grace and see how they operate from there. And that's the way that I go about it. especially when people just don't know, and I'm the only maybe disabled person in the space, which happens on most of the jobs that I'm on, or being the only Afro Latina in a space as well with disability included. So there's always a moment where I do feel like I'm outside of the box, but at the same time, that's okay. Everyone has a moment like that, and all should be uniquely embraced. And it's really nice to be able to break the barriers and impact people in that way as well, or even just show people who do relate to me, whether they have a disability or they relate to my culture, that they have the capabilities of being in the same space as well. So I love being able to open up that path and see people who follow me along the way.
Thank you. We're gonna pause there for a second so the interpreters can change. Yes. Thank you for sharing.
And Mark, just to let you know, we are now co-hosts, so we can spotlight ourselves. You guys don't have to stop for us. Just go.
Oh, just keep going. Perfect. Lovely. Sorry, I was trying to be polite. Thank you. Okay.
No, thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, Jumpy, over to you, okay? Okay. You are a dynamic artist across disciplines and one of the only drag queens I know who uses a wheelchair in the US. How do you hold professionally? Because there's, drag, but you are a professional drag queen, okay? Let's not don't let the girls and the boys and the theys know you are a pro. Um, how do you hold space for all that you do, and how does it lead to your own liberation?
That's deep.
I know I
No.
didn't hold back. I didn't hold back anything with these questions, y'all. I went straight for the juggler. Okay. I grew up in the schoolhouse of Oprah Winfrey and Barbara Walters.
No. I love it. I hope I understand. I understand it. But just
Yeah.
tell me.
So the point is, simplemente, simply you are fierce and you are dynamic and you do so many different things. How does that lead you towards your own sense of being free, of being liberated? Because you are one of the most liberated people I know.
Wow, thank you. No, I really appreciate this word. And I don't know, like I feel like I have a lot of fire and passion in my, in my heart, yes. But, I feel, it's very scary, scary sometimes to try something new, to try something very, like drag. When I try first, I have all these battle, like what people is gonna think. It's not that I don't feel that fear, but I feel I use that in my favor. That's my fire. That's like I'm gonna show them, this Latina is gonna show them that I can do it. And like I feel I've always been like that growing up, with a disability, as I mentioned, being Latinx. I was always like, I don't care what people say. I don't care the barriers, architectural or mental barrier, any barrier that people try to put me. I was like, I'm gonna overcome that. So I try to apply that even in my practice. Any challenge I see it as an idea, as a creativity, as a something to be creative. As an opportunity to be creative. So I take it as a challenge. So and I have a goal in life to become like international super disabled artist in the world of the world, and create my own production. And like I feel I have that goal in my life, so everything I do every day is towards that goal, towards that. So I wake up every day motivated because I feel everything I do, no, from I wake up to I go to bed, is toward that future that I see for myself as disabled queer artist, also as a teacher and as a choreographer. So yeah, I feel that's my
Yeah.
fire.
See it, fuego. I can see it. Mark my words. You will be that international, global, queer, disabled, drag queen, superstar, wheelchair using dancer. Okay. I see that in your
Gracias.
future. Denama, Vanessa. Vanessa. First of all, did I get your university correct? Because I had to add that myself because you didn't add it to your bio.
I'm sorry.
It is Cal
It's
State Long Beach, right?
it is Cal State. That's a BA. They didn't
Oh,
quite shift it
BA.
to BS yet. Yeah, at that
Okay.
time. So
BA, BS. Either way, it's a degree. It's for your degree. You got it. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Because Vanessa's a little shy. So Vanessa, this is a little bit different question for you.
Mhm.
You are an independent artist, and we know that being an independent artist as a dancer, regardless of other identities, is already hard as hell. In terms of the funding landscape, in terms of opportunities, um, it's even harder right now for us as an art field. How does your identities inform how you produce your work and navigate relationships with funders? As we named in your bio, you just received a very prestigious, hard to get NDP grant. Um, for those of you who don't know, NIFA, National Dance Project, provides a substantial grant for research and development and touring of new works. And Vanessa is one of this year's recipients. And I texted her when I saw the press release, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so competitive! Congratulations!" And so I'm so proud of you, Vanessa. But how do you navigate your relationship with these funders and these institutions that historically have been ableist and racist? If I'm being fully frank.
Yeah. No, that's real. I think um, from the get-go, once I graduated from university and realizing how much ableism there is already within a lot of institutions and having to go through it, I shaped my career to apply to everything that I can and show up fully and authentically as I am. Um, and one of my core values is through the disability justice framework, and that has really shaped the ways in which where I apply and who I want to be in community with, and has shaped the way I want to see the dance field go forward. And one of the works that you mentioned in my bio, Void Decryption Error, where I successfully live streamed queer, BIPOC, disabled artists on stage with me, is the beginning where I can see the dance field hire and commission more disabled artists, especially those who aren't who have the privilege to be on stage, have that formal training. And so when I applied for the NIFA grant, I intentionally made it my mission in that application to bring that home, to be able to do more research, to have more time and really implement grip time for the creative process. Because oftentimes, for those of us who are navigating freelance work, we're often told you need to make a work in 2 months and show and go, and that's it.
Yeah.
This, I intentionally made it my mission to like, no, we're going to take our time. That's what we need for other disabled artists to be in the dance field, to be in the space, to perform. So I find that my journey has really been staying true to my values.
Yeah.
Honesty, integrity, all the things. And
Yeah.
God.
Thank you. And I know I originally wrote 3 minutes for this next question. But I meant to write 2 minutes. So keep that in mind as we answer this next question. Too often, as disabled Latinx artists, we are limited to our disabled identities. But I know that our work is beyond just being disabled. What do you want the audience to know about your work and how you create? And we're going to start with Kayla, then Vanessa, then Jumpy.
Yes. Okay. So for me specifically, right, I do modeling, but I love people to know my work mostly when it comes to dancing. That's where I fell in love with creativity to begin with. So in essence, I want people to understand that my work is a way for them to understand that they're not alone in the life experiences that they go through, right? Because essentially, I love teaching dance classes. I love being able to create a space for anyone who wants to get in tune with their femininity and express that side of themselves, that it's okay to do that. And I create the safe space for them to do that. And at the same time, people who just watch it, I want them to know that, oh, like I felt that emotion before too. I've been through that experience before as well because I love to create my work based on whatever type of life experience I personally have went through that other people may have went through as well, based on the message of the song. I teach heels. I love being able to just have people feel sexy, beautiful, confident, whatever that boundary is for yourself. Like, I want you to define that in the space and celebrate it, and have it be respected. So, in essence, my work is not about me, but about everyone else being able to celebrate themselves.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, I've worked with Kayla professionally. She's done one of my pieces, a solo I did in 2022. And I used some of her images to
Okay.
promote the show. And I was like, oh, is this image too sexy, too spicy for Mark Travis Rivera to put on his social media for promotion? And but Kayla does some dope ass work and heels and lingerie and sexy clothing. And she lets everyone of all body types and abilities be comfortable in their skin in her
Yeah.
classes. So if you are in the New York City area, check out Kayla Mediagi's Instagram. We'll drop it in the Zoom chat. Come out to one of her classes. I promise you, you'll feel like a badass after,
Yeah.
during the class. And if you don't already feel like a badass before, trust me, after her class, you will feel like a badass. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you.
Jumpy, what do you want people to know about your work beyond being disabled? Vete.
Oh my God, pues I feel like I create everything, myself. Like I feel like I'm trying to be the whole production. Like I for my choreographies, I create my own sound. I being able to develop that, capacity,
Edit,
you know.
produce.
Like I create
Ah,
all for my music, for my choreography. Also, I pick the costume, the design, through online. But I try to be I try to do everything, and I've been learning a lot, because I feel everything is connected in the creative process, and like in drag as well. I've been doing everything, all my videos, I do it myself, makeup, hair, everything I do it myself, and also I choreograph myself for myself, and this
mm,
year I was able to choreograph for other dancers, for two dancers. I choreographed a duet for the first Meet Festival. It's the first time I choreograph on other dancers, and present.
work.
So I feel I'm challenging myself to do that more, and also, you know, grow more in my vocabulary. I try to research a lot the connection of my body and my wheelchair in my dance, and like that's gonna be a never ending exploration for me. And like I found new ways every day to add voguing, salsa, and all the styles I'm interested for to apply, in my drag, my dance classes, and my choreography
Yeah,
process. So yeah, I feel like that's where I am.
yeah, I love that. I want to just say for the audience, these people in this panel, my dear colleagues and friends and comrades, um, their work isn't just about disability. It's not just about the Latinx identity either. It's about the human experience and how their various identities informs their artwork. We're allowed to create work about our bodies and body self-esteem. We're allowed to talk about mental health. We're allowed to talk about sex in our work, right? We're allowed to talk about queerness and mental health and love and heartbreak and family dynamics because we're whole fucking human beings. And I always say I may be crippled, but I'm not broken. And we are all different in our own ways. Some of us are born this way, some of us became this way, but we're more than just our disabled identities. And that's why David wanted to do this panel to show that Latinx disabled artists aren't just brought in for the disabled topic of the day, but that we're brought in to show the fullness of the Latinx diaspora. And then when we talk about Latinidad and the arts, that disabled people aren't just a subset, but a part of the mainstream movement for representation of Latinidad in dance in modeling, in commercial dance, in drag, in concert dance, and anything else we choose to fucking create. Because we are truly limitless with our potential. Vanessa, over to you.
Yeah, I love that. My work is about futurism, dystopian realities. I like to call my work experimental contemporary. Contemporary to honor my dance training, but experimental meaning to break free from normative ways of moving and choreographing. I love integrating visual art, film, poetry, text uh, through my process. And one of the things that has been kind of my mission is to veer away from this mentality of needing to prove that we can dance because we already are. We
Mm,
already are dancing. Um, and I have found that to be very liberating and exciting in all my works and processes. And that
beautiful. Thank you. It's hard to believe that we're at the end of our question. And so we have a minute each to talk about how people can connect with you and support your work. And so we're going to start with Jumpy and then go to Vanessa and then Kayla. How can people support your work, Jumpy?
Mainly, I post all my video. Oh, like,
Oh, what happened here? We lost our spotlight.
yeah.
Hold on.
Uh,
There we go. Sorry, I don't know what just happened.
we have you. Okay. Hi. Okay. Hi. I feel it's just me in the spotlight
There we
and
go.
Mark. Okay.
And we're adding the
So,
rest of us. There we go. We're coming back.
yeah, I feel my main point of contact and connection for my work is my Instagram. I
Yeah.
That's where I post everything, and also it's where I post my videos that I create, and and when you can where you can see reflected all my choreographic growth and my dancing exploration, because I try to really apply everything that I learn in my everyday, in my videos and in my drag and in my stuff. So through Instagram, if you follow me, please, you can
I
find
dropped it. I dropped it in there in the Zoom chat for them.
you can see my work, all the things that I'm doing, and yeah, you can be posted there, please.
Yeah. Okay, Vanessa.
Hi, yes, y'all can follow me on my Instagram, Galaxies Dance. Then
I'm
you can
adding that
follow
to
my
the Zoom chat.
website, galaxiesdance.info. And I also want to say, like, hire us, commission us, bring us on your stages. I would love to see more of our community really supporting Latina disabled artists. Like, let's do it. Let's really make a wave within our own community. So yeah, hire us. We're here. We're ready. We're ready to do the work, y'all. And yeah, excited to be in community with you all soon.
Yes.
And
And Kayla, I dropped your Instagram in the chat, but go ahead.
Oh, yes, that's perfect. Y'all can definitely look me up on social media on Instagram and find everything else from there. But essentially, if you ever want to take a class, that is the only way that I guess, like, would love the support in a way to be able to see you and enjoy the space that I'm able to create and see how, how able you're able to just kind of express yourselves in that space. So
And I see some of
whenever
our,
you want
I
to
see,
take a class.
yeah, and I see some New York City friends of mine, like Omar, in the Zoom room. So if you are in New York City, where are you teaching at now these days? Are you still at Broadway Dance Center, Kayla?
Oh, yes, yes. I'm in New York City and I teach at Broadway Dance Center in Manhattan-based Midtown.
Yep. And do you still do steps or no?
No, I never taught at steps. I
No.
should. Let's begin to
Should.
existence.
As a matter of fact, yes, Broadway Dance Center, but you also did your own. You do your own pop-up series, right?
Yes, I still do that. I teach that on Sundays, which can all be found on my Instagram. I post all my classes there.
Yes. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for what I'm calling a friend conversation that happened to be in the public domain. Um, I'm gonna turn it over to our audience. If you all have a question for the panelists, please drop it in the Zoom chat. Or if you want to ask your question, you can raise your hand and we will unmute you and spotlight you so you can ask your questions. Someone wrote in the chat if it's okay, I can read it for you. Mac. Hi, Mac. Mac is one of my dear friends. I love everyone on the panel, all the fields, and love to each other, um, and every one of you. Thank you for speaking so beautifully and vulnerably with authenticity and conviction. Don't be shy, y'all. Come on, I know you have some questions. And while we're waiting for the questions to drop in or for people to ask questions, Andrea or David, can you be on the lookout for someone raising their hands in case I missed them? Um, I just want to thank y'all for being my comrades and my colleagues and my friends. I deeply, deeply, deeply admire all of you. And this week, I taught a masterclass at Avon Ailey, and it felt like a full circle moment because I took my first professional dance class at Avon Ailey. And so to teach a masterclass for the BFA and certificate students this past week felt very full circle. And to be a Latino, to be disabled and queer, and to be there was just a very special, special thing. So,
Mark, we have a
uh,
question in the chat.
all right, I am going to. Hey, Lauren, from August Honey. Hey, honey. What makes you all feel the most safe and free when making or performing your art? Oh, great question. I'm gonna go to Kayla for that one because I feel like your art form in particular requires a level of safety and freedom to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess for me internally, what makes me feel safe and free making my art um is being able to take like those hard experiences that you go through in life, that sometimes you can't even put words onto them, but you're able to kind of speak about it through your movement. That in itself is the moment where I feel the most safe because I get to really decipher the feeling into it. And then, most importantly, you get to really invoke the emotion from someone else as well. Whether I'm like creating the choreo on the spot with like my students or my assistants, and then being able to take that creation and teach it and see what it invokes in other students is just so beautiful and meaningful for me. And that what makes me feel really safe because it shows me, other people go through it too. And I love being vague about it because you never know like what that experience would be and how that's interpreted by someone else. But we
Yeah,
can all relate through a feeling, whether that's sadness, happiness, joy, heartbreak.
yeah.
It's just really beautiful to see.
Thank you. And Jumpy, you are someone who does drag in a wheelchair, and we know that queer and trans people are under attack right now, especially as well as Latinos in our community, for those who are undocumented or perceived to be undocumented. And just our hearts and minds are with those in Chicago and Portland and Los Angeles and DC and New York City, where people are being targeted and mistreated, wrongfully so. You as a drag queen, Jumpy, how do you navigate feeling safe and free? In San Francisco, thank you, Andrea. How do you navigate feeling safe and free as a drag queen artist who uses a wheelchair?
Yeah, I feel I definitely have found a lot of safety and freedom through just dancing, losing myself, dancing and dancing and dancing. And I literally be more gay than ever, more queer than ever, don't being scared to go and be in a studio, at the gym rehearsing my drag performance and like my practicing all my hand technique, not being afraid of hiding any part of my disabled queer identity and Latinx. So yeah, that, and I found a lot of safety, even though could feel like the opposite in these moments that we're living, but I feel that's the most powerful uh, tool that we have to stay safe physically but also mentally, you
Yeah,
know keep ourselves in our joy in what doing what we love is our way to fight against all the craziness and all the energy that is moving around in the world.
yeah,
And that's what keep me safe as well, like just being free in the dance and in my art and being grateful that I can do it,
yeah,
because I feel like there's very, very few people that can say, "Oh, I'm full-time artist. I'm full-time disabled Latinx artist." So I'm very grateful. I don't take anything for granted. So I try to. That's why I try to express fully who I am every day because I want to be honest and authentic all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, thank you. Vanessa, I want to add another component to that question for you, which is came in from Lauren Fluker. How important is it, given the current political climate and the division it seems to be evoking around safety and freedom and showing up as our full selves, how important are creative outlets like dance in this moment?
Yeah, this is the time to create. I think I like to think of my work as pockets of liberation. If and when I'm collaborating with others, even with my tech crew, like really generating a safe space where marginalized communities can gather, can move, can be together. Um, and don't be afraid. We're here for each other. We're here. We're here. That's like something that keeps me going. Like we're here, we're still here. Um, Existing is a form of resistance. Continuing to be alive and breathing and allowing that to be the conduit to become liberated, liberated.
Mm,
Um, I think also for me, what makes me feel safe within my own work is that I get the autonomy to choose how much I want to be vulnerable. For those of us who are navigating disabilities that are apparent or require more help or assistance, we are often in a state of vulnerability all the time and
mm,
sometimes without consent. And so for me, dance has become that safe space to have that.
yeah, thank you. Quinn Dior asked in the comment in the question, what are some common mistakes you're able, I'm not gonna say able-bodied, I'm gonna say non-disabled coworkers make while creating with you? For those of you who collaborate with non-disabled artists more regularly, what are some common mistakes that may happen? No, no one has input on that.
Um, oh, I was just kind of thinking about that too, because I was like,
Yeah.
that's a really good question. Um, I mean, for me, because I'm physically limb different, right? So I guess like the common mistake would be trying to do certain movements that I do. It's hard for them to sometimes interpret it the way that I would go about it because they'll try to figure out what the right arm would do. And they're like, how would I do
Mm,
this with the right arm? And I'm just like, listen,
mm,
just see where your body takes you. Or more importantly, like another common mistake that I usually see is them maybe saying like a movement may be too difficult, or I usually say, like, if I'm able to adapt this to make it work for my body, then you definitely have the capability of doing the same for yourself. Whether you have one hand or two or whatever it may be, like you're able to adapt. So I would say like that's the most common mistake that I would see. But then also later on, as we grow closer in the relationship, it's also nice to see the comfortability that's there. Like we'll make jokes, we'll crack up, or they'll help me brainstorm on like what that side can do now,
yeah.
um, since they have it. So it's always like this like cute little give and take, depending on the status of the relationship I have with that person too, which I think is beautiful.
And also, it's not always non-disabled people who make the mistakes. Sometimes disabled people also make mistakes. For
That's true too.
example, when Kayla and I worked together, I hadn't worked with a dancer with a limb difference at the ratio that she has it. And so it
Mhm.
was a different experience for me to choreograph on someone who was limb different but had more of a limb than the other dancer I worked with at Access Dance Company. And so, we all can make mistakes. None of us is above making mistakes, but it's about leaning in with curiosity and asking questions in a way that doesn't feel exploitive. Don't make assumptions. I never touch Pluto without asking for consent. When I dance with Vanessa and Pluto, Pluto is How do you want to describe Pluto for the audience, Vanessa?
She's a beautiful purple walker. She's shiny. Goes by any pronoun.
Yes, and Pluto and I have a relationship with Vanessa and our little trio that we did. And same thing with Jumpy, right? You don't just throw your body weight onto Jumpy and let they know it's coming because you can tilt the wheelchair back, right? Now, someone like me who has worked physically with each of these dancers and have a breadth over a decade of experience working with various disabled bodies, I can say that and make less mistakes now because I have so much experience working across disabilities, and that is a point of privilege and also a point of putting in the work. So, y'all, there was one more great question that we couldn't get to from Leo, and so I'm gonna copy the question, and I'm gonna invite each of you to post a video message on your stories on Instagram answering this question so that Leo, when they follow you on Instagram, they can see the response to this question. So I'm going to text it to each of you so y'all can get it. Because I think it's a great question to answer. We just don't have time. But on behalf of Dear Herrera, Andrea Spearman, the Latinx Hispanic Dancers United, a initiative by David Herrera Performance Company, thank you to everyone for being here today. Thank you to our interpreters. Thank you to my fellow panelists, John P. Starr, Vanessa Hernandez Cruz, Kayla Maria G. Thank you to our audience and those who post questions in the comments. Thank you for what you represent to the three of you panelists. Thank you for being possibility models. And more importantly, thank you for your art. Because the world needs more art and they need to know your heart. Take care, everyone. Be well.